Okay, Pookie and Tarzan, you guys just hold down the gate. Lito, do the same thing we did before, and we're gonna push on the right side through the fence. Oh, yep. Right there. Okay, Lito.
Reloading.
Yeah.
Moving up, moving up.
Yep.
Down on the left.
Hold up, I see one. I see one.
He's on the flag. Flag down.
Did you get him?
He's on the flag. He's on the. Flag is clear. Flag is clear.
Alright, thank you. Anybody left? Okay, no, I think we're clear. What's up, everybody? It is a Blue Drake, and today I'm going to be updating you on a project that I haven't updated you on in a long time. Today I'm going to be giving you all an update on Operation Harsh Doorstop. Since January of 2018, we've actually rebuilt the entire project from the ground up. And before we continue, yes, this game will still be completely free. The entire premise of this entire project is to build a free game made by the community for the community. So for those of you who will ask that about this project, I can confirm for you that that is still absolutely the plan. But with all of that out of the way, I want to go ahead and I want to start showing you all of the things that are in this current build of Harsh Doorstop. And of course, as the game continues to progress and develop, more are going to be added, hopefully every single day. So in this build, we are focusing on all of the most basic, most essential infantry combat components. So to start, we'll take a look at the sprinting and endurance system that we currently have. Now, the stamina system is much more simplistic and very straightforward. When you begin sprinting, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, your stamina decreases until it enters a red zone, and you can't continue sprinting until your stamina restores to that minimal amount where it's no longer in that red zone. Additionally, there is a second endurance bar for jumping. So when you are jumping, it doesn't affect your ability to sprint, but it also keeps you from being able to bunny hop everywhere, which means that you can sprint and run up to a wall and still be able to vault over it, but you won't have players bunny hopping everywhere as well. I actually really like this system. There's a couple of other games that have used something similar to it. Obviously, there's some games out there with much more complex stamina systems, but I really like the simplicity of this style of a stamina system, and I've played other games that have this dual stamina for jumping and sprinting, and I really like it. I really don't see much of a need to go beyond that. So hopefully that's going to be the version of the stamina system that we all like the most after playtesting, but of course that's not going to be entirely up to me, so that's just what I'm hoping for. Also, specifically for this build, keep in mind there's a lot of placeholder or work in progress stuff that is still currently being used, specifically with the sounds. That's why all the sounds sound very tame and generic. They're just placeholders for all the different weapons until we get different sounds. In fact, that's also why the different weapons have some of the same firing effects. It's primarily just because they're there until we get proper sound for all of the individual weapons and items. Next, I want to talk about the procedural aiming, free aim animation system. Obviously, this is something that everybody's probably going to mention at least once or twice. I've played a lot of different games, from Project Reality to Arma to Insurgency, and I really enjoy a combination of free aim and a more rigid body aiming system. For instance, with Project Reality, it's much more rigid. When you aim, It's a single point, and when you move your camera, your weapon is going to be fixed in the center of the screen. And Arma is kind of like a complete opposite example of that. In Arma, when you aim your weapon, unless you constrict this entirely and turn free aiming off completely, your screen has a center dead zone, and within this dead zone, your weapon is able to move completely freely. And I also think that this is a little bit too extreme in the opposite direction. And what I really like is a combination of the two. So for instance, in this example, you can see there's still a dead zone in the center of the screen, but your camera is still moving the entire time. And it feels much more natural. And the only other game that I've seen this done really, really well in fact, I think they nailed this in their most recent release, but the only other game I've seen this done really well in is the Insurgency series. And I think they really reached the pinnacle of this in Insurgency Sandstorm. In Insurgency, you still get to retain that free aim kind of aiming style, which is really nice to have in a military simulator, but it feels more rigid and it feels more like a competitive game instead of a simulator. And I think that's a really nice combination that we're trying to replicate here. And also, this is a game that is developed by a community that is heavily influenced by tactical games such as Insurgency, Project Reality, Battlefield, Arma, and many others. So you'll see a lot of similar concepts from those games in this project, and honestly, that's kind of the entire purpose of the project. So that's not something that's an accident. That's absolutely intentional. The idea is to take all of the best things that our community likes most about all of our favorite games and put that together in a free standalone game built by the community. So when you see those similarities, know that that's absolutely on purpose. That's not an accident. So next I want to talk about the inventory system and the ammunition system. Right now we have a very similar inventory system to the Battlefield series. So you just use your scroll wheel and you can scroll through all of the different items in your inventory. Right now I just have a bunch of different weapons for testing. And this is all organized into kits. And you can drop kits, you can pick up kits from other players who have died. Every kit has a list of inventory items, and of course all of these inventory items retain their ammunition in the kit. So if you pick up a dead player's kit and they've used up all their ammo, you're not going to get any ammo, but you can replenish your ammo from different points across the map, ammunition boxes, etc. And for the ammunition system, we do have a fire mode selector. So if you look at the bottom right hand corner, all of the different weapons have configurable fire modes. For instance, the M4 has fully automatic and single shot, or you can switch it to full auto. And then of course when you reload, your magazine counter is in the bottom right hand corner. Sorry for the terrible reload sounds currently. Now, in addition to that, we also have support for a tactical reload system. So right now I'm just going to go and unload like half of this magazine. And then I'm going to reload off of the one remaining mag that I have. But I still have my other mag still in my pouch. Now this is a full magazine that I can just completely deplete. And then when I reload, I still have my half-depleted mag. And to showcase the kit system a little bit better, I will go ahead and kill myself. And upon death, you drop a kit container with all of your weapons, ammunition, and inventory contained within it that other players can pick up from the battlefield. Of course, depending on your class, the mesh or the model that shows what kind of kit you have will change. Probably will have like a backpack or the weapon, depending on what kind of class you were. Right now, since this is the test kit, which has all the weapons, we just use a crate for it. But when you pick up another player's kit, you also get all of their ammunition, all of their weapons, which you can go ahead and deplete. And of course, all of the ammunition and everything stays persistent with the kit loadout. I've always really liked the pick-upable kit system in games, and I've always been really confused when I've seen games not use them. Recently, there's been a longer string of games that have deviated away from the pick-upable kit system, and I'm not entirely sure why. There's definitely other ways to incentivize people to stick with their roles, and not being able to pick up equipment on the battlefield has created a bunch of different gameplay problems which haven't really been resolved. So I really would like to go back and stick with the original kit system that I've seen in a lot of different games. I think it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more robust. Perhaps it's not completely realistic, but at the same time, I don't think locking people down and removing their ability to pick up other equipment on the battlefield is perfectly realistic either. So I'm hoping this is something we're absolutely going to stick with, because I definitely prefer it considerably. Then, of course, there is our objective system, and currently our objective system is very traditional to the Advanced and Secure FOB or objective system in Project Reality. And the way it works is when you approach a flag, you'll see in the top right-hand corner there will be a bar that will tell you the name of the objective that you're on, as well as the controlling faction of the objective, as well as a progress bar that shows you how far along you are at capturing the objective. Currently I have admin turned on, so I immediately capture these. And, of course, you can see when you capture one objective, another objective unlocks. Now, with all of these basic things shown off, that we're obviously still tweaking and updating, and we're going to be continuing to update with new features all the way to a nice full release where we can all play together, I want to show off a lot of the other things that we've been working on, because we haven't just been working on a game mode and a first-person shooter. We've also been working on a much larger aspect, which is creating tools and infrastructure and a framework that we will be able to use as a community to build better games for ourselves and possibly even beyond our Doorstop itself. And what I want to show you is our map and prefab editor toolset that we've been working just as hard, if not actually a little harder on, than the harsh Doorstop game mode by itself. And what this is an editor system, very similar to the UE4 engine editor system in itself, but it is entirely in-game. So you can spawn in objects, you can move those objects, you can rotate them, you can even scale them, just as you would inside the standard UE4 editor. And one of the reasons that this is so cool is because it is in-game, we are able to also network it for multiplayer because it is in-game. And the things that this allows you to do is pretty fucking cool. So, for instance, in this scenario, we brought in a bunch of our testers into a multiplayer editor match and coordinated everyone to build a single building prefab, which we could then use later, potentially, in some of our maps. And I'll go ahead and I'll speed up this footage to show us all working on this one single prefab in a multiplayer instance of this editor. And not only is it pretty fun, but depending on the kind of people that you actually bring into an instance with you, you can get pretty productive. But the coolest thing is, because it's all in-game, as soon as you're done building whatever you want to build inside this editor, you can instantly swap back to an in-game character and you can playtest whatever you just made. You can have everybody go in there and shoot each other up with it, and then come back out, maybe edit it again if it doesn't feel right. And currently, what we're working on doing is not just having this be a sandbox mode or anything like that. We really want this to be a proper utility. You can create proper prefabs that you can then export and you can use in other maps. We're also hoping that we'll be able to create an importer so you can actually import height maps and possibly even assets off of the marketplace, which I think would be really cool because now when you look at all of these really awesome kit bash assets that are on the UE4 marketplace that normally you'd probably have to have a little bit of development experience in order to use, now you can purchase these assets off of the marketplace that look really great and are really fun to create houses or environments with, and you can load them up into your sandbox editor, and then you can create scenes, or you can create buildings, or maybe even create entire maps with your friends in-game in an exportable format that is actually usable, possibly even outside of harsh Doorstop. And when you combine that with the fact that this is a completely free, community-made game, or in this case, a completely free, community-made tool, that potentially makes this really powerful. And if you guys know me, you know that I'm all about accessibility. I'm all about bringing the fun and the interest of game development to people, even if they don't have an extensive amount of technical knowledge, but they're really interested in being creative and exploring what game development has to offer. And I think this is a perfect way to integrate that with people and to kind of bring people into the fold that maybe have never really thought about creating something in UE4 before. And this really bridges that gap. That is, ironically, one of the biggest things that I'm excited about for Harsh Doorstop right now, even though I should probably be more excited about the shooter and tactical gameplay component, but honestly, this tool set is potentially so much cooler that it blows my mind. Maybe it doesn't blow your mind, I have no idea, but it blows my own mind. So, that is it from me today. I hope you guys appreciated the update. I know I haven't made an update in a long time, but the project is still being developed, and the team is currently around 5 core people and around, I would say, 10 to 15 part-time people and a massive fleet of playtesters. So if you do want to help contribute or become a playtester, we absolutely would love to have you join us making this project. And lastly, I want to say this project isn't about doing anything drastically different or really driving new gameplay. Like I've said in previous videos, we're not trying to push innovation in terms of gameplay and design further. What we're trying to do is we want to take the same things that we've enjoyed in previous games, and we're trying to do it for less. We're trying to make it as a free game. We're trying to use the same development tactics we've seen for modifications or other open source software, and we're applying it to making a fully original video game. That's the entire purpose. So I don't know if anybody's going to be disappointed in that or say, oh, this game is too similar to other games. That is honestly kind of the intention. We want to create something that is just as fun as other paid games, but is entirely free and is on its own engine, and you don't have to worry about any licensing problems. You don't have to worry about EA shutting down your project. You don't have to worry about some other big company that has all of the rights to the engine that you're using, interfering with development. This is a project that will hopefully give true independence to community modders and all of those things. People who want to play a tactical game but don't want to have kind of problems over their head. There's so many games out there, like Battlefield 5, etc., that just don't have any mod support, and the few times that you're actually able to hack in mod support or anything like that, it's not only much more difficult because they intentionally make it much more difficult, but it also puts you at risk, potentially, because they could take advantage of you in that way and try and send you a cease and desist. They've done it before, but not here. Not here. And that's the entire point of Harsh Doorstop. This is ours. Nobody can take this away. Okay. So we're hoping to actually release an SDK for the game when it is finally available, as well as all the tools that we're using, so people can use them to continue making the game even better. Make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you follow everything that we're on, including this channel, obviously. And I will try to continue keeping you guys much more updated than I have in the past. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I love you. Cheers.